to The Actor's Choice, where the actors have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting through actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi, everybody. This is Ron Brewington, and welcome to The Actor's Choice. Today, on a special edition of our program, we want to talk about the world of television, network production, financing, and related subjects. To do this, we've invited a gentleman who has exceptional knowledge about the business. And for today's special program, we have opened up our telephone lines so that you in the audience would like to maybe ask him some questions. You can call us at 323-965-1600. That's 323-965-1600. He's the founder and CEO of Punch Television Studio. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Joseph Collins, and with him his partner, Mr. Mark Castleman. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here today.
Thank you for having us.
As I said in the beginning, Joseph, you have a background in the business. Please take a moment and tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my background in business is very extensive. I was the Entrepreneur of the Year for the state of California and for the Small Business Association. I've received awards from many senators and assembly people and Congress people from all over the country for my business acumen. And we've basically, I guess, through my career, I've had probably 3 corporations that we've started and have grown and done other things with. And the one I'm most excited about is the one I'm working on right now, which is Punch TV Studios, and it's just really exciting.
Okay. You have a vision about this network. When did you first get that?
I think my vision for the network overall started back, it's got to be since I was a kid, actually. And I wanted to make movies and tell stories about people's lives that ordinarily would never get told.
I see.
And so that's been very important to be able to create a platform where we can make those movies and tell those stories and just be very, very proactive. When I was growing up, shaping the image of the African American community was something that most people never got an opportunity to do, and I figured if I ever got the opportunity, I would be part of that movement to shape the image of how African Americans are viewed in media and the things that we do in media. And I think that's why I've just been really excited about that.
How do you compare with, say, Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry? Is this what you want to do?
Well, certainly they are pretty good storytellers. I actually never thought about a comparison with Oprah Winfrey, but now that you mentioned it, Oprah, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, Oprah.
Oh, there's no comparison.
I think that, I think when you're in the world of broadcasting and you are doing it at this level, there are certain levels that you do things, but when you're operating at the professional level, you certainly have to respect the accomplishments of contemporary people such as yourself. It would, to me and Oprah is like me being Michael Jordan and she being Magic Johnson, for lack of a better word, and you certainly have to appreciate the accomplishment during that time and during that era. And certainly the things that Oprah has faced are not, we've certainly experienced and have faced those things as broadcasters. At the same time, I think that what she's done could be done better, and I think that Punch can do it better and create different kinds of content that really inspire people and that really give people hope in such desperate times that we live in now, and really tell different stories than what they're currently telling. So certainly I admire what Oprah is doing, and I admire what Tyler Perry is doing, and you can't take anything away from them, but certainly there's room for improvement in other areas, and there's room for something different that I feel that Punch TV Studios brings to the table.
Okay. Reality programming?
We're certainly doing reality programming. We're certainly, although I'm more into scripted things now, I'm more focused on the things that we can develop in terms of movies, in terms of television shows that are more scripted. I personally feel reality has taken its course and has pretty much run its course in my own personal feeling. Certainly we are doing a little bit of reality. We have a couple reality shows on slate. So those to take a look at, you can visit our website at punchtvstudios.com. We have a couple of new reality shows that we're developing that are on slate. But really, for the most part, we're moving more towards scripted programming, and we're moving more towards programming that's more inspiring to people, and programming that's more real to life, that can really touch a person where they live.
I see. To do or accomplish what you want to do requires resources, obviously.
Sure.
Money.
Yes.
You have a plan that you're now trying to sell some stock in your plan,
Correct.
to the public.
Correct. That's right.
For $1 a share.
Correct.
Please explain.
Well, what I've always known is that most of the urban community would never get a chance to invest in a publicly traded company, and certainly you would never get a chance to invest in a publicly traded company in the IPO phase of that company.
Okay.
And so one of the things that was important to me, and it's been important to our company, is to give people an opportunity to invest in our company in the IPO phase at a price that almost anybody could afford. That was just like really, really important to me. I didn't want to have, our initial stock price could have been any price we set. But I wanted people, one, to get the maximum number of shares so that if a person invested $500, they would get 500 shares. And if those share prices increased, they could see a measurable increase in their investment. And two, I wanted to have the buy-in low enough so no one will ever be able to say Punch TV Studios didn't set this so that the community could get involved. And then that puts the onus back on the community for them to be a part of what we're doing, to help us tell these stories, and to help us put this to work in our community for something different.
Okay. Mark, would you like to add something to what Joseph said?
Well, what he didn't say is we're doing the IPO on a completely brand new program.
Yeah.
Back in 2012, Obama passed the Jobs Act, which stands for Jumpstart Our Business Startups. And one of the things it did, that's one that launched the crowdfunding craze that's going on right now. It's a phenomenon. But the other thing it did, it modified some of the SEC rules that allow small businesses and entrepreneurs like Mr. Collins to raise capital in an IPO market without having to jump through all the hoops of a traditional IPO. And we are probably one of the first 10 companies to go public under this new program, and it is taking off like crazy.
It really is.
For those financial nerds out there, it's called the Regulation A.
Yes.
Look into it. It's an amazing thing. And he's the first one of the first people to take advantage of it.
That's correct.
And
And we're the only African-American company to take advantage of it. And so we're bringing this home to our community to say, we can do something very special right now, and we're standing in this time. Sometimes things are about timing, like when Martin Luther King Jr. came along, that was about timing. When Barack Obama came along, that was about timing. That was about a shift in the paradigm in which people, in which time and history collide. And when time and history collide, you have this phenomenon of things that happen. And what's happening for Punch TV Studios right now is that time and history are colliding for us. And we're doing something so special, so outstanding, so phenomenon, it just behooves people to just be a part of it,
You mentioned Punch TV Studio. What's the difference between Punch TV Studio and Punch TV Network?
So when we originally started, we started the Punch TV Network, and the Punch TV Network grew at one point to about 55 million homes. And for us, that was our learning ground for how broadcast television works. And that's more about distribution. So the network represents a platform for distribution. So the network has had its ups and downs, it's had its bounds, and the network is still here today. We're still broadcasting into 2 markets right now, in Mobile, Alabama, and in Pensacola, Florida. We're on 24 hours, 7 days a week. We have a new station coming to Los Angeles, which is going to be our first full power station. And we're on our Los Angeles station. We're on everything. We're on Time Warner, DirecTV, Dish Network, any television platform. So the network is about distribution. The studio is about creating content. And the purpose of the studio, and I actually learned this from one of our competitors. The purpose of the studio is to create content. And then we're going to take that content and license that content all over the world. Because there's TV stations in Australia, there's TV stations in Germany, there's TV stations in Austria, there's TV stations in Japan, there's TV stations in America, there's TV stations all over the world, in Canada, and we want our programming to work all over the world. And what that's going to do for us is something that the network couldn't do for us initially. And what that'll do for us is that's going to position our company according to our business plan. That's going to position our company to generate roughly $700 million a year in annual revenue in approximately 24 months after we close the IPO out, or our initial stock offering.
And how long is that IPO period for?
The IPO period, we're trying to close out our IPO period right now within the next 90 days from now.
Okay.
We're selling 50 million shares of stock, and we want to close it out within the 90 days. And people have been responding, and it's been really, really wonderful. The response has been awesome. And so when we get it closed out, then that's when we're going to start making very aggressive strides and moves, and then really explain to our shareholders what it is you're doing. Because when you say I'm investing $1, you really don't see the power of that dollar. But when you come to the shareholders meeting, and our first shareholders meeting, which will be approximately 90 days, give or take a week or two after we close the IPO, then we're going to explain to you the power of that dollar. And that's going to be really exciting for a lot of people, and it's going to be really exciting for us as a company.
You know, I'm thinking of several things that go through my mind as you're talking. Like you say, a lot of folks they don't have the knowledge about stock markets.
No,
We saw something happen last week in Britain that, billions of dollars was gone.
Correct.
And so to the little guy, they say, ooh, stocks? And $1? What are you talking about?
See, what people don't realize is that the stock market is where most of America's wealth is created. People think, well, if I'm in real estate, then that's where that's not true. The stock market is where most American wealth, actually global wealth, is created in the stock market. Now, the thing you try to do is you try to find the company that's on the cusp of something, and you try to jump into that company early on.
Okay.
And then you just ride with that company for whatever the time is for that, or for whatever the time is you want to sell out.
Right.
And most people miss that window, or the investment bankers will buy up all those stock. And then what people typically call the IPO is really the investment banker now selling off the stock that they already bought to you, and then they call that the IPO. In our case, we're selling directly to you, and then we're going to show you how to sell off your stock and make a huge amount of revenue if the market prevails and good things happen for our company.
Okay. Joseph, as you know, blacks are 35% less likely than whites of similar means to invest in stock.
Right.
They're scared sometimes.
For people who don't, most African American and most of the urban community, and I think the research has shown this, have very little financial literacy. So if you don't know what money is, and you got to know what money is before you can actually touch, feel, or see money. You got to know what it is before the money actually manifests itself. And since we're not educated to that point, and one of the main reasons why I took a lot of time to educate myself was because I had a conversation one time with Wally Amos, a famous Amos cookie. And Wally Amos, I said to Wally, because everybody was giving him such accolades, and I'm not one to bust anybody's bubble, and I was in my 20s at the time, and I said to Wally, I said, listen, if you had to do your cookie company all over again, what would you do differently? And he said, I would really understand finance. He says, I didn't know that while I was building my cookie company, people were taking slices and pieces, and next thing I knew, I didn't have my own company anymore. And so I think one, being in a public vehicle is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. I think, two, we have to educate ourselves and educate our children so that we're leaving legacy for our children and we're leaving legacy for the people that are in our lives. You know, and I think that if we're able to leave legacy, and you leave legacy by leaving wealth to your posterity, and if you're able to leave legacy, that's very important.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
As you know, blacks, we have a buying power of $1.1 trillion.
Tremendous buying power.
Right. So what are we doing with our money?
I mean, most of the time, because of financial illiteracy, and I'm not saying that a person is illiterate, I'm just saying financially, I don't want to go buy Nike tennis shoes. What I want to go do is buy stock in Nike company. So if I'm going to pay $300 and I see 100 million other people paying $300 for a pair of Nike shoes, I'm going to take my $300 and see how many shares of stock of Nike I can buy. I'm not going to go buy Donna Karan. I'm going to go see how many shares of Donna Karan stock I can own. And that's where people kind of miss the boat in our community, because we're consumers, but we haven't learned how to control wealth by and large. Some of the urban community get it, but by and large, we don't get it.
Right. Mark, what do you feel about investor clubs as a way of getting some money?
Well, investor clubs are an amazing thing to get involved in, because investors clubs, they do all the research for you.
Right.
They research these things. They find out which is a good bet, rather than going on your gut feeling. Hey, I like my Nike shoes, so I'm going to buy Nike. Investor club will look and say, well, what is Nike doing? You know, if Nike's on the threshold of bankruptcy, you need to know that.
Yes, you do.
So I think investor clubs are great because of the research that they do.
Yes.
Rather than just pure emotion, it's pure research.
I've got some friends of mine who are members of investor clubs. They are solid with that. They get together on a regular basis. They take the stock, they look at it, examine it, watch it, play with it, do what they have to do, and see where the profit margin comes to them at.
They analyze it. Where is it going to go from here?
Yes. A question that I find very interesting is, okay, you say $1 a share.
Correct.
Why should I invest in Punch TV Studio?
Well,
I realize that you're a handsome young man.
Yeah.
But why should I invest in Punch TV?
Well, you know, just do it because I'm handsome. It works. You know what I mean? Just don't even mess with it. Just. But in all seriousness, one of the things that's the most important thing that you've got to know is that we have a very solid business model. We have a business model that's going to deliver and generate over $700 million a year in revenue based on that small investment. Now, what happens if you invest your dollar, there's like financial numbers that are tied to the dollar, which says that if we achieve this goal, your dollar automatically now becomes worth this much money. And Mark knows that financial matrix, and it's usually 10 to 40 times the amount of a dollar typically, and you do that. They do a financial matrix on that. We have a very solid business model. We are building a very solid management team. And it's about the team. It's just not like, okay, Joseph Collins is there. Yeah, I'm a good-looking guy. Yeah, I'm a pretty good businessman. But it's also about the team, so that it's longevity in the company. And we have a phenomenal team that we're building. And one of those key components that we have brought to the team now is Matthew Knowles, who is the father of Beyonce. And you've seen what he's done with Beyonce, and you've seen what he's achieved with his daughter Solange, and you've seen what he's done in his management company. And now we're going to bring that same skill set to Punch TV Studios, and we're going to do something awesome on a global level. And it's about the team. And then we have some other key team members that we're bringing in to really set this thing off, and they have the experience and the know-how to go to the champion.
How did you get Mr. Knowles? Curious.
Well, we've known each other right now for over 4 years.
Okay.
And so it's been a 4-year thing to this. And I kind of went to him because he thought I was crazy, as most people do when you first talk to the guy. He says, you know, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down. I'm going to take my company. I'm going to sell stock in my company. And people are like, oh, yeah, really, 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 really. Yeah, no, I'm going to become a publicly traded company. Oh, yeah, sure you are. Good job. And then after I become a publicly traded company, we're going to market cap our company over several $billions. And it's like, and then you tell, and then all of a sudden your eyes, well, wait a minute. If he achieves becoming a public traded company, there's a very good chance that he's going to market cap over several $billions. And wait a minute, this guy doesn't quit. I want to be a part of that. And he's got the same business acumen, and he's got the same drive. And you know, anybody who knows me personally, Ron, they'll tell you I have an incredible drive. My drive is just relentless. You know, I mean, I'm telling you, it's just relentless. You might be faster than I am, but I'll stay on the track and keep practicing and practicing and practicing until I figure some kind of way to beat you. You know.
You mentioned a 90-day window. I met you guys on June the 19th, Juneteenth, at an event here in Los Angeles. And you got my attention.
Yeah.
I bought a few shares.
Yes, you're a part owner of our
Yes, I'm a part owner. Okay. And, you know, I said to myself, if I'm going to buy some stock, where does my money go?
That's a very important question. So when you buy stock in a company, your money goes to the development of that business model and the business plan of that company. So in our case, when you invest in Punch and we close out the IPO, all of that money now goes to drive the business plan.
Okay.
To drive that business plan. It goes to hire the right executives. It goes to execute the business plan to its umpteenth. We are going to develop 100 new movies in 24 months so that we'll begin building the library. We're with our movies, we have music and those kinds of things that are going to go along with that. And with Matthew, we're going to be combining music and movies together. So we'll be selling music and developing movies and licensing these things all over the world. And we're going to do it right. We'll have the people that invest that dollar with us, they're giving us the opportunity to do it right. Well, let me tell you something else that's very important that people should know when you invest with our company. When you invest with Punch, and because people really don't know the job of a CEO of a public company. Right. The job of a CEO of a public company is to do nothing but make money for the shareholders, period. That's my job. My job is to spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, working on behalf of the shareholders to give maximum shareholder return. That's the job, and that's the job of my team. We are here to work for our investors to give them maximum return on investment, period. So if you invest $1, and if I figure out a way to take your $1 and turn it into $1,000, you'll be very happy with me as your CEO. Okay, that's our job. Our job is to do that for, and most people in the urban community, they don't have anybody working on their behalf to create wealth for them. You can deposit your money in the savings account at your bank, but that bank is not working to create wealth for you. No, they're not. And so CEOs of the public companies, their job is to create wealth for shareholder value. And I'm going to use Malcolm X's statement, by any means necessary.
How did you two guys get together? Your partners, how'd you do that?
This is more than 15 years ago. We met, who's had a different company, and for the last 30 years I've been doing equity financing for companies. And I met him through that, and he had was it Flatfoot Frog?
Flatfoot Frog.
Right. And we were trying to use a different program that came up, and the things didn't line up exactly right, but we stayed friends for all this time. And
that's been 20 years ago, actually.
1996. You're right. It's been 20 years ago. It's been 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
What I'm doing today, he and I actually started this 20 years ago. It's just that the law's caught up to us now.
I see.
And so we were way ahead of the curve. And so now, you know, this is 20 years later, and we're like, whoa, here we go. Right. Why did it take them so long? You know, and it's just exciting, huh, Mark?
It is very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the Actor's Choice. I'm Ron Brewington, your host. We have Joseph Collins today and Mark Castleman with us today. The phones are open. If you want to call in, that telephone number is 323-965-1600. That's 323-965-1600. How safe is my investment? Now, I'm speaking for myself and for a lot of people out there. They want to know, how safe is that investment? I mean, I got kids of mine, I want to put them in college.
Here's what I say, and I'm pretty straightforward, straight shooting guy. Anytime you make an investment, there is a chance that you could lose your money.
Right.
There's absolutely a chance of that, because it is an investment. It is a risk in a sense. But more than likely, when you invest in an IPO phase of the company, with a company that has a real business plan, with a company that is really strategic in bringing in the right management, with a company that really has a plan to become a multi-billion-dollar media company, more than likely you're going to win.
Okay.
More than likely you will win. But there is a chance. There is a chance that anything can happen, that something can happen, that we are not successful in what we're doing. There's a chance. But we have taken the steps over the past few years to really minimize risk for investors. We really have minimized the risk so that you're investing in something that really has a chance to be successful. I don't know if you've been reading blogs and stuff on the internet now, but if you read some of the blogs that are out now, people are considering Punch TV Studios like the early days of the Walt Disney Company.
Yes.
So that should tell you something about the direction that people, by and large, feel that the company is going, and that's really exciting.
We like to spend money. I mean, I see a lot of people on Wednesday and Fridays getting them lotteries.
Oh, yeah.
They think that's a good investment.
I don't personally think the lottery is a good investment, personally, because you're not likely to win. But when you invest in a company like Punch TV Studios, you're going to win whether we like it or not. You're going to win, because the laws are set up, and we have, and Mark has made sure of this, we have consistently abided by the laws and consistently abided by the rules set forth for public companies. So the laws are set up in favor of the shareholders. So if, for instance, and God forbid, we were to find ourselves in bankruptcy trouble or something to that effect, which you don't want to talk, the stockholders get taken care of first. The stockholders get their money. The stockholders get whatever the company has first, because the laws are set up to protect the stockholders.
I see.
Yeah.
You mentioned a business plan. Is it open for inspection to anyone who's interested in investing in the company?
The business plan itself it's on the SEC website. We filed our documents with the SEC, and part of those documents is the business plan itself. So you simply need to go to the SEC website, type in Punch TV Studios, and it'll give you the full business plan.
Okay. Are you guys listed on the New York Stock Exchange?
Not yet. Now, with the program that I told you about, the Regulation A, it's a two-step process, where a traditional IPO is a one-step process. Regulation A is a two-step process. We filed our documents. Now we're raising capital. The next step, we'll be putting it on. It won't be the New York Stock Exchange.
Not immediately. Yeah.
Not immediately. We're looking for NASDAQ or one of the other smaller stock exchanges, but we will get to the New York Stock Exchange eventually.
Okay. These terms that you're throwing at us, I think a lot of people, as I say, go up on Google, you can find out exactly what these terms mean. If you really want to
I'm sorry if I said things that...
Oh, no, that's fine. That's the business.
That's the way I talk.
You're using the same words that you use in the business, right? Exactly, because I'm an investor. I'm going to use that. When you say NASDAQ, you get my attention.
Yeah.
Get my attention.
I remember that one.
Yes, indeed. What is the minimum investment that I can make? Minimum investment.
So the minimum investment, the way we have it set up, is $1.
Okay.
So you can literally invest $1, but you have to also purchase your stock certificate and that whole thing like that. So what I recommend to people is try to invest somewhere. If it's your first time investment, invest somewhere between $100 and $1,000. If you're more sophisticated investors, and we've having quite a few of those, invest somewhere between $5,000 and $50,000. But if it's your first time investing, invest anywhere between $100 and $1,000. Don't invest anything that's going to hurt you because you're excited. Just invest what you can afford to without hurting yourself. That's the most important thing in that way. But we have a setup where I've literally had people spend $27 to invest $1. So we've literally had people do that, and I'm happy. I'm happy for every shareholder that we get. But you want to invest at least $100.
Okay.
You know, $100 is nothing. I have 2 tanks of gas, and you got your investment done. That's really what you want to do.
What's the $27.50 for that you mentioned?
No, well, $1 for the stock certificate, $25 for the. $1 for the stock, $25 for the stock certificate that gets mailed to you, and then it's like $1 processing fee that they charge for the, that whole thing.
Okay. What if I'm able to bring referrals to you guys?
Sure.
Tell about that, please.
So if you have someone and you want to refer, the law does not allow for us to pay you a referral fee. It's not really allowed for that. But certainly, if you are a shareholder and you want to refer people, you're going to refer people that are going to buy into the overall idea and philosophy of our company. That's really what you want to do. And then if you're referring people, we want people to refer people. Most of everything, all of the shares that we've had purchased so far have been as a result of referral.
Right.
And it's been just really exciting. So definitely refer people, definitely let people know, definitely put it on your social media, definitely visit our website at punchtvstudios.com, definitely follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook so that you can see what the company is doing, see the moves and things that we're making. And we've been using Facebook a lot because even though we do mainstream media, we realize that urban America is not going to go read the Wall Street Journal per se, not typically unless we put that article on Facebook. So we've been using a lot of Facebook and doing things to make it.
Like the weekend box office, word of mouth is what makes a product sell.
Yes, it does. Yes, it
Word of
does.
mouth.
Word of mouth is everything. And this is something we can get done. This is not like hard. This is something that we can get done. This is something that we as a community can knock out right quick, and we move and give us a chance to really grow our business. And what this is, and at least the way that I see this, and this is unofficial what I'm saying right now, but you've got to believe that the government is watching Punch TV Studios right now to see how successful we are with what we're doing. And then if we're successful, then other businesses will get a chance to walk down this path that we've walked to create community financing.
Yes.
There are some places like in Arkansas, nobody's bringing jobs to Arkansas. Nobody is going down there saying, hey, I'm going to build a company and I'm going to put 2,000 new jobs in Arkansas. But at Punch TV Studios, if we're successful and the community embraces this, we're going to put 2,000 new jobs in the entertainment industry that don't currently exist. We are going to look at other opportunities to help other entrepreneurs expand their businesses and really build a financial power base. So you better believe that just because you're an investor and that the government is also watching this whole process to see how successful we are, to see if we are the quote unquote the model company to really now deliver financial wealth to the urban communities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, what has been, since you started this campaign,
Sure.
what has been the media reaction to what you're doing?
Oh my God, it's been just phenomenal. It's been absolutely phenomenal when I sit down and I explain to people what this is, and we haven't even gotten into the juicy part. We've just gotten to just this basic information and whatever, but you haven't gotten to the juicy part. But when I sit down, but when I sit down and explain to people how powerful this is right now, and how destiny has met timing right now, they get it immediately and want to invest. They get it right there. There's no like hesitation, and they invest. Hey, I got $50. I'm putting my $50 in. I got $100. I'm putting my 100. I got 1,000. I'm putting my 1,000. I got 10,000. I got 15,000. I got 2,500. And people have taken that approach right now, and it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful to see the process of how excited the urban community is and being a part of this. It's just been awesome, completely, totally, phenomenally awesome.
I got to put a plug in there for one of my good friends, Lee Bailey, and EUR.
Yeah.
He has written some things about
Yes, he
you.
has. Yes, he has.
I was talking to him the other day. I said, go Lee. I said, now go in and get you one of them stock certificates.
Yes, he needs to do that too as well. I haven't seen Lee Bailey, but on our as a stockholder, but he needs to do that, as well as others should embrace this, because we're bringing a new economy to our community that does not currently exist today.
Right. This show, of course, is about actors and actresses.
Sure.
When you say jobs, I'm just thinking about all the stages and the way the productions that are possible through what you gentlemen are doing.
That's correct. We're going to create, because our initial goal is to film 100 new movies and television shows in the first 12 months after the IPO closes, we're going to create over 2,000 new jobs. That's jobs for actors, that's jobs for directors, that's jobs for producers, that's jobs for musicians, writers, editors, effects.
Things like carpentry, lighting,
effects. That's right. Lighting, gaffing, all those kind of jobs are going to be created because of what we're doing with our investment dollars that the people are invested in our company. So we're going to create a lot of new jobs.
Wow.
But this doesn't have to just stop here. This is just a catalyst for something even special. You know, once we get Punch sufficiently running, we can now go back and say, you know, let's launch our own bank. And everybody comes together and we launch our own bank. We can go back and say, let's launch our own electric car company. You know, and we can compete with Tesla and the other guys right in our own community and creating new jobs and doing these kinds of things in our community and really empowering our community and really creating good paying jobs for people. And a man feels good when he's got a good job. You're a hero to your woman and you go home, baby, I got the check. And what you like?
Joseph, I can see it in your attitude. You're right on, my friend. You're right there. You are right there.
People get excited. Oh, my man, he got a check, girl. He come home and give it to me.
Yes.
I don't know a woman out there that don't want a check.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Especially from her man, you know what I mean? Baby, I ain't leaving that dude. He come home and give me his check, you know? So we want to create that kind of thing.
Excuse me.
You know, and if you're empowering the community, which we at Punch are doing, you're going to empower people. You're going to empower lives. You're going to make people and force people to want to improve their lives and make it easier for people to improve their lives. And to me, Punch TV Studios is just a catalyst for that.
Besides the media, do you go around to civic groups and talk to people about your program?
I'm talking to everybody. Man. I talk to people at the gas station. I talk to people. I'm in the mall. I'm like, hey man, you know, here's my card. Now go to punchtvstudios.com and look it up. punchtvstudios.com. You know, I'm gonna tell you something that I discovered the other day. This is sidetracking a little bit, just a little bit, right? And you know, a lot of stories from handicapped people were never told.
That's true.
And I got a call from, I can't think of his actual title, but he's the California advisor for the disadvantaged, and he actually worked in Washington D.C. at the White House for this. And he called me the other day, and he's talking to me like, hey, you know, I know you want to make all these movies, and I know you want to tell all these stories, but had you thought about people that are physically handicapped, and what about our stories, and what about and I'm like, wow, you know, those are things that somebody has to embrace. Yes. Hollywood is not embracing that by and large. No.
That's why we have independent TV.
That's why we have independent television.
And film. Because a lot of times Hollywood, they will stay with something. They do a show, it becomes successful, let's do a segue.
That's
another segue.
That's right.
And that's what they keep on doing. Well, whereas independent, you guys get out there, you take the chance.
That's correct.
You know, I'm Oprah Winfrey. I look at her sometimes. Of course, Tyler Perry. These guys, they get good writers.
Yeah.
Good act. They provide for jobs. They got people smoking.
Right. Yes, they do.
You know.
Yes, they do.
She does have a good show right now that I made a comment the other day. Scandal is one of my favorite
Scandal,
shows.
Yes.
And this show is called Greenlee, and it is really
nice.
Keith David and a whole bunch of people. It's a story about a bishop down in Memphis, and his story. It's like soap opera type thing.
Nice.
But it's good writing. I mean, it's got me doing one of these things. Yeah, right.
Is that right?
I really love it. Television. What, you know, when it started way back in the days, this little small boob tube, as they called it.
Yeah.
Now it's gotten worldwide.
Right.
I mean, they have so many hours that they have to actually fill with television programs.
Right.
Because you can't just go up on a channel that's designated and see black. You can't see that.
No.
You want to see some television.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw a show recently called it's Smithsonian. They have.
Oh yeah, I love the Smithsonian.
I never channel 131. I sit there for hours. I ain't worry about nothing else. I'm watching what's on television.
Yeah.
Because it's giving me National Geographic. It's giving me all kind of shows.
Yeah.
To me, a program starts with my favorite four-letter word, an idea.
Idea. Yeah.
Starts with an idea.
I was worried there for a second.
Well, again, that's one of the good things about internet television. They
Well,
don't
you said
have
4 letters, not 3.
Not
You could have been
three.
like, my first program started with 3 letters. Now you get to, and the first letter is S. No, just kidding.
But it's amazing what this industry has become.
That's
and to
correct.
see you guys get your hands in it, we wish you nothing but the best in what it is that you're doing.
Thank
you.
Definitely. What platforms will you use to deliver programming?
We're going to use every platform available, actually, because we're licensing our content.
Okay.
So for Punch TV Studios, the way that we're going to create revenue is by licensing our content to individual stations. And I know people don't really realize that when you watch TV, like if you're watching TV in San Diego, it's really not the same TV you're watching in LA.
Right.
It's actually different, and it's all segmented. Now, they might all be running the same programs, but TV itself is all segmented. So you'll be watching different segments. So our thing is to use every platform. We certainly want to license programming to every station that's on the air right now. That's certainly our goal, believe me, you. And certainly we want to license to platforms like Hulu and Netflix, and license our content to places in that way as well. And certainly we're going to look to create our own platform so that we have our own video on demand or VOD type services, so people can go in, pay a subscription fee or whatever, and watch all the television they want to watch from our web platform. So certainly these are things that we're going to be moving into. Yeah.
And with the technology, you have digital satellite
TV.
It's amazing.
It's so much television. Yes. People just have no idea. There's so much television in so many different languages, and it's all around the world. It's a global business.
Let me go in another direction for a moment here.
Okay, sure.
You become successful.
Sure.
Then all of a sudden, one of these big guys come in there and want to buy you up, like BET is a subsidiary of Viacom.
Yeah.
Telemundo, which is a big Spanish
Sure.
network. They are now part of NBC Universal family.
Right.
You guys ever think about that sometime? Or is it too early?
My goal is to create shareholder value.
Okay.
And if somebody comes and they offer our shareholders enough money that makes sense for us to consider a buyout, we would consider it. It would be, if I didn't consider it, as a shareholder, you could sue the company for not considering an offer. It doesn't mean that we
juicy things you were talking about earlier.
was one of them. Yeah. It's one of those things. So you have to consider every real offer. It's just like if we decided we had the company positioned well and we wanted to go buy a big company that's already in existence, then they would have to consider our offer. Or I think it's some type of malpractice is the only word I can use, but there's some wording that they use that if you don't do that, so as a CEO of that company, they would have to look at an offer that we wanted to buy their company. And if our shareholders come together, we can position our company, which BET, Bob Johnson never got this opportunity.
No, he didn't.
So he went the traditional route, and because he went the traditional route, he had to pay the traditional price. Right. We're going a route where we're saying, let me show you how we can empower your life financially, and then take this journey with me. And if you take this journey with me, I believe that the company can deliver these things for you as a shareholder, is kind of more the way that we're looking at it. And so then, therefore, that we want to position Punch so that we can be in the position to buy out someone who's already established that just needs a play right now, and maybe Punch in a couple years or 3 or 4 years from now could be that play for that company, and we make a play and we own one of the large media companies out there.
Got you.
I mean, imagine Punch owning Walt Disney.
Ooh.
Now that's a story.
How about Punch owning Oprah Winfrey?
No. Oprah Winfrey doesn't own Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is owned by the Discovery Channel.
Right.
So imagine Punch owning the Discovery Channel.
Yes.
And now we get all of the things that the Discovery Channel have. Now that's, of course, at this point, wishful thinking.
Yeah, of course.
That's wishful thinking. So I'm not putting that out there as a statement from the CEO that we're going to buy.
No.
That's not what I'm saying. But
these are things that
but
really
these
happen.
are things that really happen because of exponential growth. And what happens is, and I could put it like this, is that it's tough to grow a business from scratch.
Yes.
So when you're looking to expand, you're not looking to grow another brand from scratch. You're looking for an acquisition that fits to your business model in the direction that you're growing from a company, you know, from a company perspective. And so that's what we would be looking at, I would think. Yeah.
Okay. Please describe the production facility that you're going to build here in the Los Angeles area. What is it going to encompass?
Well, we're not sure it's going to be in Los Angeles.
Okay.
The production facility, we haven't even rolled it out. How do you know about that? We haven't even.
You're not talking.
Oh, that's right. Okay. We haven't even rolled it out yet.
It's called a pre-interview.
Yeah. Okay. That's right. We haven't even rolled it out yet. But the production facility is awesome. It's going to be one of the most majestic places that a person could visit. It's going to be a combination of Universal Studios Walk, if you ever walk through there with the studios on the back of it. It's going to be a combination, and Walt Disney, if you ever went to Disneyland. It's going to be that kind of combination of thing. It's going to be phenomenal. And we're certainly, at this point, once we close out the IPO, we're certainly going to assign a team to locate the best facility, the best state and city that wants to properly position Punch as part of that state or city's long-term growth strategy. Okay. So that's really what we're looking for. But it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. It's going to be over 60 acres. It's going to be over. It's going to have really state-of-the-art sound stages. It's going to have a retail component. It's going to be a really great place to work. It's going to be able to house over 10,000 people working there at the facility. It's a phenomenal facility, and we're going to roll that out in terms of the conceptual designs and stuff over the next couple months. That'll be coming out for investors to see.
Have you considered Englewood?
I'm considering anywhere where the state would. You know, when we're building something of this size, you certainly want the state to step in and say, we're going to do these things for you. And you certainly want the city to step in and say, we're going to do these things for you. And so we're considering anywhere, probably not somewhere it's cold, but somewhere where it's reasonably warm.
I had to say Englewood because we got the Rams coming.
You guys got the Rams. Yeah, we have the Rams because I'm in Englewood, so we have the Rams. And but anywhere, it's going to be a state. And it's going to be a tough decision on where we actually want to build a facility. But the facility is going to be awesome, and I can't wait to. I have one of the top studio designers at this moment working on the design that we're going to present to the public. It's going to be completely phenomenal, and it's just going to be totally awesome.
Right. Studios are great.
We're
in a studio right now.
We are, yes.
And this is where you can become creative. You can put your ideas together. You can make things grow.
Yes.
You can do some good stuff in a theater.
That's right.
I mean, in a studio, excuse me.
Exactly.
Exactly.
He said exactly.
Exactly.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Punch TV Studio is uniquely sensitive to the market entry barriers that complicate and confound market access for producers and entrepreneurs in the independent sector of the entertainment industry. Right. Please explain. That was my favorite question.
So, if you are a producer,
right,
and if you're a serious producer, that means that you've done the Hollywood circuit, and you've been all over the place pitching your ideas, and you know how difficult it is to get a show placed at a studio to get the money to develop the studio, to get the money to develop the show, I'm sorry. So you know how difficult that process is, and to be a part of a system that's going to help incubate you while you're developing and while you're taking on that challenge of birthing a movie. And I say birthing a movie because sometimes if you're doing a movie, it could take you almost a year for that thing to really come together, and that's if you're working on it every day. And so you need those things for African Americans by and large have been very limited.
Yes.
Very, very limited. You're just not going to get in the door. Although now it's a bit more forgiving because you have shows like Scandal and shows like Empire and shows like Power and those kinds of shows. So it's still a bit more forgiving. But even if you've ever noticed Fox's trend, that Fox will have a hit show, they'll build an audience with an urban audience. They'll build an audience, and then they'll cut that show off and put all other nationality shows on air. They've done it before. There's no doubt. And most of the studios do that. They do that to get you an audience. They get the audience. Once they get the audience, they then get rid of that programming and bring in other programming. Yes. That's more, which I understand why they do it, and that's a whole other conversation we don't have to get into today. Right. But I understand why it's done. But to me, it seems unfair. Very, very unfair. And so, if you're a producer, you've ran up against those barriers. If you're a filmmaker, you've ran up against those barriers. And what we're trying to do at Punch is level the playing field so that you can have an opportunity to get your project done.
Right. How did you guys select the name Punch for the business?
Well, so Punch represents like this punch bowl. Most people think it's like fighting or whatever, but really Punch represents a punch bowl. And what happens with Punch is in every culture across the globe, there's some form of punch.
Yes. And
so there's very few countries where you can go where there's no punch. And so our thing was we want punch all over the globe, and that was kind of our own global bowl of punch, and so there's different cultures, and so there's certain kind of punches. So you do all kinds of things with punch, and people, all over the world, people do different things with punch, and that's what it is. It's like a cacophony of beautiful nationalities all come together to make something sweet and palatable.
Interesting. You guys are available to the public right now, but you're in this IPO period. This is a very strong, sensitive period.
Correct.
How can people get in touch with you?
So you could visit our website at punchtvstudios.com.
Okay.
If you want to invest, we have an Invest Now button. You just click on the Invest Now button, and you can go ahead and make your investment. Mm-hmm. We have 24-hour technical support, so if you need help, we'll help you work through whatever it is that you might have trouble with as you're placing your investment dollar. So you just visit our website, punchtvstudios.com. Our contact, our office number and stuff is on our website, punchtvstudios.com. If you're pitching a show, if you're pitching a show and you have a show you want to pitch to the company, we'll set that up for you with Matthew. But most of the shows that we're going to look at initially are going to come from our shareholders. So you want to be a shareholder, even if you're a music producer and you want to get in time with Matthew, or you are a filmmaker and you want to get time with Matthew because he's come on as our president of content development. So he's going to be developing the movies along with the music and everything that goes along with each and every show. So we'll get you that meeting, and then you could sit down and pitch your idea to
That's some of the juicy stuff you were talking about.
Well, that's one part of it. That's one part of it. What I was talking about really has more to do with this is what I'm going to say this way. When we close out the IPO and when we have the initial stockholders meeting, I'm going to put an argument on the floor at that meeting as to why each one of our stockholders should not sell their stock under $525 a share. That's what's really going to be exciting. And I'm going to make such a compelling argument so that when we go to market, whether we go to NASDAQ or we go to OTC or wherever we go, I'm going to make such a compelling argument so that the shareholders who are initial shareholders will really be on a path to wealth with our company. And I think that we can deliver that. I think that if the shareholders hold their stock until the price is at $525 a share. So what that means is if you were an investor and you invested $1,000, your $1,000 is now worth $525,000. I just did that mathematically just so people would get it. Yeah. So you have $525,000. But more importantly, what that also means is that you have now empowered our company, because we would have a company that will market cap over $20-30 billion, and that'll position us to now take a hard look at other acquisitions in the next few years that we can take advantage of. And that's why that's so exciting. And I intend to put a compelling argument on the floor, and I really hope that the shareholders will agree and hold with us and give us that time to really grow and not let nobody else come into the company under $525 a share. Yeah. So that's what's really the exciting part of what we're doing. That's exciting, and we can do that because we're going directly to the investor. We're talking directly to the investor. We're having these direct conversations with the investor, and we're saying, let us help you, empower you by you giving us power. So they're going to give us the power of the $50 million. They're going to give us the power of the market cap, hopefully. But I'm going to put an argument so compelling on that floor until people are going to have to hold their stock for $525 a share. And then that way, we do $700 million in revenue. A lot of your big mutual funds and all these other kind of guys are going to come in and they're going to try to buy out all of our initial investors, and it's going to be awesome. Oh boy!
I see this as a historic time.
I do too. I think it's, I don't know. I'm like the most excited guy probably on the planet right now.
You're very excited, and it rubs off too.
I'm telling you, man. If I was Michael Jackson, I could moonwalk right now. I'm trying to tell you, I'm the most excited guy on the planet right now because I know that we're doing something that I believe God put me here to do. Period. And I believe that it's our time, and I believe that we can seize this moment and change the world. And that's why I'm really excited.
What do you see as any limits?
I believe in limitless.
Wow.
I think limits. What would be a limit? I think imagination.
Yeah.
I think if we're limited by our imagination on what we can do, I think that that's the limit. We're only limited by imagination.
That means there is no limits.
Exactly. You know, and
you only limit yourself.
And fear.
Right. And fear.
Imagination and fear. And I'm a firm believer in the Bible. And one of the stories that I'm going to bring up just for a moment is, God gave one man 5 talents. He gave another man 2, and gave one man 1. The one with the 5 talents went and doubled his talents. He had 10. The one with the 2 talents doubled his talents. He had 2. He had 4. That's still 100% return. 100%. Yes. The one with the 1 talent went and buried his talent. And you know what he said when he buried it? Lord, I was afraid. And so I think if we let fear and stop us from moving forward, and we let our imagination stop us from moving forward, those are the 2 limits I would think that would limit us. Fear and imagination.
Yes. Mark, any comment?
I can't top what he just said.
Excellent. Oh my God. This has been we're out of time right now, but I want to thank you 2 gentlemen for coming down today. And I know there's been a lot of people who've been asking us a lot of questions. And like we say, word of mouth. You've told everyone what you got, how you can get it. It's there for you for the taking. If you just want to invest a couple of dollars and we get a bunch of people going, we're going to have us a big punch in this town.
Punch bowl. You have a big punch bowl. And this punch bowl, we're going to fill it full of cash. All right. Just go in there and reach out. Take a cup of cash with you, though.
Any final thoughts before we leave?
PunchTVstudios.com. Just go to the website.
Yeah.
That's really all you need to do.
Your website is great. Very informative. Whoever put that website together, it answered a lot of who, what, where, when, and why questions. Love it. Love it.
My final thoughts, I think I'm done. I don't know what else I could say. Finally, just become an investor. Take part of this. Go to our website, PunchTVstudios.com. Become part owner of this company. When you become a stockholder in Punch, you are a part owner of this company. We work for you. Just imagine this. You become a part owner of Punch TV Studios. You got not only Joseph Collins working for you, but you got Beyonce's dad working for you. You know? Who gets that opportunity to get 2 great people and a team of people like that working for you? So that's as a shareholder is all I really could say as the last words.
Hey, Joseph, thank you so much for taking the time. Come on down. Mark, thank you
very
much.
Thank you for having us.
Really enjoyed it. Again, these are 2 gentlemen that we've had today. Joseph Collins, the CEO and founder of Punch TV, and Mark Castleman, his partner. And we want to thank you all for staying with us today, and we'll see you next time.